Well, we are going to roll into a short shot now about the 80s. Modern English is obviously a product of the 80s. It's
a beloved product of the 80s.
A beloved, piece of the 80s iconography. So we're going to talk about some relics from the relics. Is that a good word for it?
Yeah, beloved treasures.
Some treasures from the
80s.
So, Tolly, you want to start us off?
Sure. So, okay, this is a little bit of an obscure 80s one compared to some of the delights that we have here on the table. But mine is a book by Theo Lessig, a.k.a. Dr. Seuss, and it's called Maybe You Should Fly a Jet. And I read this book when I was a kid, and then it came back into my life because someone gave it to me to read to my daughter, Nico. And it's just a really interesting little glimpse of late 70s, early 80s gender politics vis-a-vis career options. And Dr. Seuss is always pretty left-leaning in his personal politics, but never really moralistic in his books. So this book is in that same vein. It's not really about teaching a lesson, but opening up possibilities.
And I see that in the 80s you like to write in your books and chew on the edges.
That looks like a pumpkin. That does look like a pumpkin.
Yeah,
you can be a pumpkin.
Yeah. I think that was what I was going for while reading this book. That's what I want to be when I grow up. A gourd.
And now you can probably get this as a Kindle or an ebook.
Exactly.
Not chew on it.
Exactly.
Well, mine are cassettes. I kind of miss cassettes. I used to make a lot of mixtapes. I have a mixtape here that I have not seen in 10 years. I dig this out of the garage, and this was from a girlfriend at the time.
He's met with you on there.
Yeah, La Bamba. Expose. I don't know.
Did you dump her shortly afterwards?
Yeah, we broke up
La
right
Bamba.
after that. The
3
Bamba
minutes
soundtrack and an Expose album on each side. It's the worst mixtape ever. I've got some that I bought. Grace and Hugh, who no one has heard of.
Who?
Who is that?
You guys have not heard of Grace and Hugh?
He looks nasty. I don't like the look of him.
He had a song called Talk It Over, I think. Blind to
He
Reason.
needs to. Look at that cover.
The album is Blind to Reason, which is a very 80s phrase. Rocky Horror Picture Show, Prince.
Oh, that's great.
You've heard of these.
Prince.
Things
I have
are
a
turning
Paula
around.
Abdul single.
Whoa!
I love the singles.
Oh, is that Rush?
Yes,
yeah,
Rush.
I actually had that exact same single.
Before we started, Lisa asked, is that the one with the cat? No, it's not the one with the
Nope.
cat. This is the one with Keanu Reeves. And Club Nouveau, I was totally into in the 80s.
Wow.
Yikes.
You're giving us too much information here.
And this actually, this wasn't a girlfriend mixtape here. Try a Little Tenderness, Whiter Shade of Pale, Little Wing, much better quality. This was probably a much better girlfriend than the La Bamba soundtrack one. So that was my 80s in a nutshell.
Wow.
The La Bamba soundtrack and Club Nouveau.
Hard act to follow.
Steven, what do you got for us?
My lovely little Polaroid camera.
Oh.
Well, I've got a bunch of these on my desk.
Which are making a comeback.
Well, they are eventually, but I got a bunch of these on my desk, and I used to love these back in the 80s. The whole point, you take your picture, kaboom, there you go. You got the whole little exciting wait for it and everything. This kid saw that on my desk and said, "What's that?" And I said, "That's a camera." And she said, "What, like the kind of thing on your phone?" It's like, well, it prints out the pictures. And she was like, "Wow!" And she thought it was a miniature printer glued to a miniature camera. I just thought that was, it was sort of beautiful but really sad at the same time. I don't know.
Dad's clunky.
Yeah, it's like, that's a big printer. Yeah, kind of weird, but I just miss these. I love the anticipation and then the almost immediate disappointment that it's a terrible picture.
You know what? I went to Outcast at ACL Fest on Friday, and they're taking like a Polaroid picture.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, do the young people here even understand that reference at all whatsoever?
I mean, there's Polaroid apps on iPhones that churn this thing out that looks exactly like a Polaroid, but mine prints it.
Oh my God, so old. All right, well, come to our Twitter, twitter.com/statesmanshots, and tell us some of your favorite treasures from the 80s.
What's your favorite 80s artifact?